Today we will learn about calorimetry. Our question of the day has three parts. What heat equation is used when the temperature of a sample changes? What heat equation is used when a sample changes from liquid to gas? And what heat equation is used when a sample changes from liquid to solid? Calorimetry is the process of measuring or tracking heat flow in a system. Endothermic systems have heat flowing into or entering a system. Exothermic processes have heat flowing out of or exiting a system. Calorimetry is used to determine how much energy is stored in the substance's bonds. In calorimetry, the substance is reacted inside of a calorimeter underneath a bath of water. The reaction releases energy as the chemical energy stored in the bonds converts into heat energy. This heat energy is used to warm up the water, and the temperature change of the water is recorded. According to the law of conservation of energy, the energy lost by the system must be transferred to the surroundings. The amount of energy stored in the chemical bonds of a substance can be determined using the equation Q equals mc delta T on the water. Theoretically, all the energy should be absorbed by the water, but in reality, heat will be lost to the environment and will be absorbed by the calorimeter. It escapes, and all that means is that it got away before we could measure it. This means that in reality, there's actually more energy than what is measured. Now pause the video and try the show what you know questions. When you are done, you can resume the video and check your answers. Problem 1 says a 30-gram block of copper metal at 25.6 degrees Celsius is heated by placing it in a beaker of boiling water. What is the amount of heat energy gained by the copper? The specific heat capacity of copper is 0.385 joules per gram degree Celsius. Well, since we are looking at the energy and we are given a specific heat capacity, we know we will use the equation Q equals mc delta H. We are looking for heat, so let's leave Q as it is. Our M, or mass, is 30 grams according to this problem. Our specific heat capacity for copper is 0.385 joules per gram degree Celsius. And we want to take the temperature from 25.6 degrees Celsius to boiling water, which is 100 degrees Celsius. So our equation is Q equals 30 times 0.385 times 100 minus 25.6, or 74.4. When you type all this into your calculator, you will get 859.32 joules. In problem 2, the same block of copper, after heating, is transferred to a new beaker containing 150 grams of water, whose temperature is 23.4 degrees Celsius. The temperature of the mixture is tracked until it stabilizes at 24.7 degrees Celsius. How much heat is gained by the water? Well, once again, we're looking at a temperature change, and we want to calculate heat, so we're going to use Q equals mc delta T. In this case, we are looking for heat, so Q stays the same. That's what we're looking for. We have a mass of 150 grams. The specific heat capacity of water is 4.18 joules per gram degree Celsius, and we are going from the initial temperature of 23.4 degrees Celsius to the new temperature of 24.7 degrees Celsius. If we put all of this into our equation, we will see that we have 150 times 4.18 times 24.7 minus 23.4, or 1.3. Type all this in, and you will get 815.1 joules. Now, according to the answers to the last two problems, how much energy was lost by the copper when it was moved to the cold water. In order to determine this, we first have to determine the change in the heat energy of the copper due to its temperature change. Basically, since the copper and the water are part of an isolated area, the temperature you measure is going to be the average temperature for both copper and water because heat flows from hot areas with high amounts of energy to the amounts of low energy, and the two substances are going to have the same temperature at the end. The temperature is going to equalize. So now we need to use that change in temperature from the starting point, which was 100 degrees Celsius, according to the previous problem, to the ending point, which is 24.7 degrees Celsius, just like the water. Our specific heat capacity for copper is still 0.385 joules per gram degree Celsius, and it's still a 30-gram block. So when we plug all this into our equation, we get Q equals 30 times 0.385 times negative 75.3, or negative 869.715 joules. Now remember, negative means the process is exothermic, or heat was lost, whereas positive means the process is endothermic, or heat was gained. Now let's look at number 4. There's an issue with the answers you came up with based on the data provided. If the data was collected properly, what is the only remaining explanation for the weird data? Well, we know that copper lost 869.72 joules of energy, whereas water gained 815.1 joules of energy. If we subtract this, we find that there is a difference of 55 joules. So 55 joules of heat energy is missing. This must have either been gained by the beaker or lost to the surrounding air before we could measure. This means that the experimental amount of heat energy is actually a little bit lower than what is expected. Lastly, let's assume the data collected for heat loss by copper is accurate. What is the percent error for the heat gained by water? Well, the experimental gain by water was 815.1 joules. The theoretical yield, or loss by copper, was 869.72 joules. To calculate the percent error, we need to know the actual minus the theoretical divided by the actual times 100, which comes out to 815.1 minus 869.72 divided by 869.72 times 100, or 6.28%.